Please take a moment to pause the video here if you need time to read this. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, I guess, whatever time of day it is for wherever you're watching this around the world right now. Wow. I did not think I was going to start getting emotional already this soon into the video, but yeah, so this video is going to be an awareness video, I guess. Yeah, an awareness video to hopefully help spread more awareness, which I hope someday in the future might lead to there being better medical treatment options and cures for this disease instead of just extreme medical surgery to completely remove this organ from the bodies of biological women. The disease is called Adenomyosis. I guess some people might mispronounce it as Adenomyosis, or if you're really bad with tongue twister long words, like bad at pronouncing them, then you might even pronounce it in some different way that I've not yet mentioned, with how I've shared the two different pronunciations of it, which I kind of tend to vary, going back and forth between sometimes. Anyways, at this point in the video, I will insert a clip of of why I'm making this video. Yeah, just to give a brief rundown for people of why I'm making the video, and then I'll come back at the end to share in detail, more detail my personal experience and struggles that I've had for just over 2 decades with this disease. Maybe longer, I don't know, I'm not good at math, but anyways, I digress. Hello everyone, thank you for taking the time to tune in and watch this video. This first page that you're looking at is my confirmed official diagnosis of me having a uncurable, according to secular medicine, a condition that has no natural cure, called, and I apologize if I mispronounce it, I believe it's pronounced as adenomyosis or adenomyosis. I don't know, however people want to pronounce it. It's tongue twister if you're not used to saying it all the time. I will end up enclosing a brief screenshot clip of how Google says the proper way to pronounce it is, of breaking down the syllables of the word. Anyways, this is the first page of my 2-page confirmed diagnosis of adenomyosis. As you can see at the top, the date confirming my diagnosis of adenomyosis was April 1st of this year, 2024. Yeah, if you want to pause, you're welcome to pause the video at this point so you can take your time to read through what this first page is saying. They are saying, though, that they found evidence of adeno or adenomyosis, such as number one, the and I apologize if I mispronounce these words, sub-endometrial buds/lines, interrupted junctional zones, and also myometrial cysts that are inside of the muscle wall lining of my uterus. Now here we have, as you can see at the bottom of this portion of the video screen, it says page 2 of 2. Again, if you want to or if you need to, you are welcome at this point in the video to briefly pause the movie, pause the YouTube video so that you can take the time to read through page 2 of 2 at your own pace. Here is a clip, as I promised, of the proper way to pronounce adenomyosis or adenomyosis, whatever, however the hell people want to say it. I don't give a shit. Anyways, I digress. Here's the proper way to pronounce it according to Google.
Adenomyosis. Adenomyosis.
And now I'll slow it down for people in case you're still having trouble pronouncing it.
Adenomyosis. Adenomyosis.
Hi. Today's date is Friday, August 9th, 2024. I just want to briefly share with people a post I made in a support group, just giving a brief rundown of how I personally came to receiving my proper diagnosis of, and I apologize if I mispronounce this, adenomyosis or adenomyosis. I don't know how people pronounce it. It's a tongue twister. I've watched other videos of other people. Adenomyosis patients that have been diagnosed with it, and yeah, we all have problems, mishaps here and there of mispronouncing it. Anyways, I think it's adenomyosis, adeno, whatever. Anyways, whatever. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. First off, I would like to sincerely thank the administrators and the moderators of this support group for allowing me to join this family. It is an honor to stand alongside you all as we are all able to empathize with each other's pain due to the struggles we bear. And secondly, it breaks my heart for anyone in this journey that received misdiagnoses along the way, mockings and gaslighting from the medical community and or from people around you just because of you not looking sick on the outside, and has had to become their own medical lawyer, aka self-advocate, as they struggle to get the proper answers and pain management treatment. I can relate to you. I have always had extremely painful and heavy periods, i.e. cramps and severe PMS mood swings ever since I was an adolescent in the early 2000s. Then, on Sunday, August 7th, of 2027. A new set of symptoms appeared of chronic pelvic pain alongside chronic bladder symptoms, i.e. urinary frequency, urinary urgency, and bouts of urinary retention, while at other times in my menstrual cycle, usually during my PMS window and also during the first few days of starting my period, is when I experience bouts of urinary urge incontinence and also urinary stress incontinence. On May 8th of 2008, I received my first misdiagnoses of IC, interstitial cystitis, aka also known as PBS, painful bladder syndrome. Later on in 2014, 2 years after I vaginally birthed my child, I was then diagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. In late 2018, my family doctor started to suspect that I may have endometriosis instead of painful bladder syndrome nor IBS, as I did not have the typical symptoms of those two diseases all the time, and it was more noticeable as the years passed since my diagnosis of those two diseases, painful bladder syndrome and IBS, that my symptoms and pain had a big cyclic pattern around certain times of my menstrual cycle. So in the winter of 2018, I was referred to a local gynecologist for suspected endometriosis. That gynecologist never wanted to do a laparoscopic on me, even though I requested it. And I should note here, in case people don't know, it's traditionally known that the only way people can get affirmative diagnosis of endometriosis is through laparoscopic exploratory procedure. Anyways, I digress. I continue on reading here. That gynecologist never wanted to do a laparoscopic on me, even though I requested it, nor did she want to refer me to the local endometriosis specialized ultrasound imaging clinic. Instead, all that gynecologist cared about was wanting to push birth control medicine on me, and also medicine to put my body into temporary menopause. With me lacking a positive diagnosis of endometriosis then, I personally did not feel comfortable with agreeing to the medical treatment options that female gynecologist was pushing on me. So in late 2021 or early 2022, I again started pushing for my family doctor to refer me to another gynecologist. This time, I made sure that my gynecologist this time I made sure that the gynecologist I was referred to was a gynecologist that specializes in endometriosis. Sorry, there was a typo there in my post. Anyways, I digress. After almost a year wait list in the late summertime of 2023, I finally got a call that my first appointment. I finally got a call that got my first appointment scheduled with that gynecologist that specializes in endometriosis. In late November of 2023, that gynecologist referred me to Hamilton's endometriosis specialized ultrasound medical imaging clinic that is associated with McMaster University Hospital, in order to pursue me getting a confirmed diagnosis instead of a diagnosis based on elimination of symptoms from taking birth control medicine. In February of 2024, my appointment with that endometriosis specialized ultrasound medical imaging clinic got scheduled for Monday, April 1st of 2024, Easter Monday at 1 p.m. The final outcome of that April 1st, 2024 appointment: findings of adenomyosis. For your convenience, refer to the photo attachment. After just over 17 years since the first onset of when my chronic pelvic pain started. I finally received concrete answers. I share this, my personal story, with you to hopefully help give you encouragement and strength to not ever give up, regardless of where you are at in this journey. You are important. So always keep advocating for yourself, even against the face of medical adversaries. You are worthy of love, and you are worthy of answers and proper treatment. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to read this long length novel type of a Facebook post. Wow. After listening through that post that I read and made on Friday, August 9th, I was not expecting to get emotional like I did. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. I'm sorry I had to take a intermission. I had to needed to go and make some food to eat for lunch, dinner time. And then, of course, I needed to put on a shirt, as you can see. Still have my sports bra and my my track outfit, my exercise outfit on underneath, but I needed to put on a shirt because I was feeling cold. I get cold easily. I don't know how many biological women with this uterus condition can relate to me, but with me having this problem, but I find I get cold really fast. Even so much so that I'm used pretty much every single day to sleeping with socks on. There are, even in the summertime here in Canada, and our summers can get pretty hot, like in the upwards of the mid 30s in Celsius. Even with our daytime temperatures getting that hot in the summertime, I find I still get cold easily. So most nights throughout the week, throughout the year, I wear socks to go to sleep. There are the occasional nights, if it's hot and humid in the summer nights here in Canada, that I might take my socks off throughout the night, or I might just fall asleep without them on because of how hot it was throughout the day, but nonetheless, I get cold fast. I don't know if that's just a me problem or if other women with this uterus condition can relate to that. If so, please make mention of that in the comment section of this video. Anyways, I digress. If you hear any squeaking or crunching noises in the background, that's my daughter's puppy playing with his toys. Anyways, so if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for sticking with me so far and not getting bored or tired out from the video here so far. Anyways, I've come to the point in the video where I'm going now to share, make it more personalized, obviously, than that clip of the Facebook post I read. I'm going to share my personal story, not just reading offhand a public post I typed. But anyways, so my story, I can honestly say I started noticing symptoms of adenomyosis back when I was an adolescent. So back when I was 15, 16. I guess people say apparently people would say somebody like me was a late bloomer because I didn't start having menstrual periods until I was 14. My birthday's at the end of the year, though, in mid November. So so I was and it was the summertime when I was 14 when I started getting my menstrual periods for the first time. It was within a year to 2 years after that I started having excruciating, painful, very painful periods, even back then when I was that young. And I mean painful to the point that the cramps in my back, in my lower back and in my lower abdomen, they would have me balled over in like the fetal position. Another symptom I noticed back then, and I'm turning 38 at the end of this year, November 2024. So if you're good with numbers, do the math on how long ago I started experiencing these symptoms. But yeah, so that was one symptom I started noticing back then in my adolescent years. Another symptom I also noticed at the same time was the frequency of the bleeding. I would basically get a bleeding period every, it seemed like every 21 days, I think. Other times it seemed like I was getting them every 2 weeks. So I'd like get a period. It would last anywhere from like, depending on how light or heavy it is. Sometimes if I'm lucky, I might only have like 3 to 4 days. And other times if I wasn't so lucky, then it would be like anywhere from 5 to 7 days with some spotting, a few days of spotting afterwards. But yeah, at other times back then, it seemed like not only was I getting them every 21 days, but other times it seemed like I would be getting them every 2 weeks. So I would get a period, and then I'd get a week off, and then I'd get another period the second week, the following week, if that makes any sense. So that was back then. As I mentioned in the previous clip where I was sharing about that Facebook post I made in the support group, the biggest, most noticeable onset of symptoms with this condition that I noticed was the chronic pelvic and chronic bladder pain. And I remember the date that it happened too, Sunday, October 7th, 2027. I remember that because here in Canada, we have our Thanksgiving holidays usually within the first 2 weeks of October. And that Sunday, I was sitting in a church service because the following day, Monday, October 8th, was Thanksgiving holiday. And this is what makes me remember this day of when this symptom of chronic pelvic pain flared up. I was sitting in church in the midst of the church service as the pastor was preaching, and I can't even count how many times during the church service I had to keep quietly excusing myself, walking past everybody else in the congregation, sitting and listening to the pastor preach, just so I could go and use the restroom. That continued on for months until I was referred in like somewhere between January to February of 2008. I was then referred to a urologist at first because they thought it was a urology bladder problem I was having. And that referral was made from the hospital because of countless times after Sunday, October 7th, 2007, when I started the onslaught of making regular trips to the hospital ER because of how much excruciating pain I would be in. And there was nothing I was able to do that seemed to be able to give me any relief. Advils didn't work. Tylenols didn't work. Not even the strongest of Advils and Tylenols worked. Resting in bed, it's hard to sleep and close your eyes and rest in bed when you're constantly having pelvic pain, especially pelvic pain that affects your bladder, makes you feel like you have a UTI, a urinary tract infection, even when you have no signs of bacteria in your urine cultures, and that's a regular thing with people with biological women that have this condition. We have high amounts of white blood cell traces in our urine, but never any bacteria usually when they're sent for urine culture, and that's how we can tell when we're having the bladder symptoms flare up. If we're suspecting maybe it's a UTI, it can be guaranteed it's not if there's no trace of bacteria in the urine culture. But our urine cultures always, all the time, are showing high amounts of white blood cells, and that's because of the inflammation from the uterus condition. But anyways, it was after months of basically on a weekly basis me going to the hospital, sometimes me being in so much pain that my mom would call the ambulance to take me to the hospital, or other times when my mom's parents were around and interacting with us, they would help me with rides to the ER, and that's the only thing that started putting me down the path of trying to find answers, was from me going to the hospital, and then starting from back in October of 2007, and then January, February 2008, they referred me to a urologist because they were seeing how many times I was showing up at the hospital being in excruciating pain. I remember the one night, I think actually this is when they decided to refer me to a urologist. The one night I got brought to the hospital's ER because I ended up, and this was very scary for me. I had never had something like this happen before. I wasn't even on my period at this point in the flare-up of my adenomyosis, and I peed blood. It was just not like, it was just, that's it. It was blood. I was peeing like pure red blood. Like it could have looked like I was passing my period out through my urethra tube, but it wasn't a period. I was not on having a period at that time, and then when they saw I was still peeing blood, like my urine, it was red, like just nothing but blood. When the hospital saw that from me being brought into the ER, they kept me in overnight. They had done, I think, a CT scan on me that night. They kept me in overnight at the hospital, and I think the CT scan revealed maybe that I had a minor kidney stone in the one side of my kidney. I don't remember what side though, but anyways, I guess that passed though, because I've had multiple other CTs and MRIs and X-rays done on me and ultrasounds ever since that point, and they've never found any other kidney stones, thank God, since then. Nonetheless, that's what led them to initially referring me to a urologist, which is what led me down the path of having my first misdiagnosis of IC. IC being short for interstitial cystitis, aka also known as PBS, painful bladder syndrome. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to start getting teared up making this video, but anyways, it was within about a year and a half after that I started dating my daughter's father. So I was still going through all of these health problems caused, of course, now that we now know, by adenomyosis, but at the time these were still kind of considered new health problems I was going through, because people really didn't know what had initially caused the onset of this chronic pelvic pain I was having. So of course, it's hard for, I would say it's hard for the partner, fiance, spouse, anybody. If there's somebody out there that's dating a biological woman that has this uterus condition, or they're dating a biological woman that is experiencing the same symptoms of me, but that woman has not yet received a concrete diagnosis yet, I would say it can be hard. I'm just trying to be empathetic and putting myself in their shoes. I would say it can be hard on a partner, on a dating partner or fiance or spouse in that situation, to understand what is going on, because on the outside, women with this condition, we look normal. We don't look sick on the outside. That's why illnesses like this are termed as invisible illnesses or invisible diseases, because it's affecting the parts of my body that are on the inside of me that people can't see on the outside. And because of that, that's led, not just in my situation, but yes, obviously in my situation, but from other stories I've read and from other videos I've watched of other women with this condition, it's led to there being a lot of times in their lifetime, as they pursue and advocate for themselves to get proper answers and treatment. There's been a lot of times in our life that we've had people, not just doctors and medical workers, but sometimes people that we thought were supposed to be the closest people to us. We thought these were people that we should have been able to trust, because they said that they loved us, sharing moments of intimacy. It doesn't come easy. It's not I don't take it very I don't take moments like that as being casual acts. And nonetheless, there have been women just like myself with this condition that have had times where people that were supposed to be close to us, mock us, gaslight us, minimize us, and minimize our symptoms and our pain and our experiences. A lot of times I can't count on my hands how many times I've received comments of, like, you look fine, like, just, it's all in your mindset, just get over it, stop thinking about it, and the pain will go away and you'll get better. Or, it's just all in your head. It's all up here. It's all in your mind. You're making up the whole disease. Right. So, okay, if I just change my mind, my focus, then this last, I don't know how many years of a battle it's been of me dealing with these symptoms and the pain from this condition. But basically, so if I just do my best to ignore how excruciating the pains can get, literally, and I mean literally excruciating. Like, I don't know if anyone's watching this has ever gone through labor. Obviously, if you're a biological woman that's been pregnant and then and has given birth vaginally, then yes, you've gone through labor. You know what the labor pains are like. But for people out there that haven't, that's how excruciating these pains can get sometimes. And especially around PMS cramping time of the month, and when the women with this condition start the first few days of their periods every month during their menstrual cycle, the pains can get as bad and as excruciating as what is compared to labor pains. The only benefit, though, to actual labor pains from pregnancy is the labor pains go away once the baby is birthed. With a woman that has this uterus condition, the labor pains from the PMS cramping and the first few days of the periods, they don't go away on a permanent basis. It's always a repeated cycle every month. But yet, nonetheless, people have gaslighted and mocked us and minimized our pain and our symptoms and our experiences, saying that it's all in our heads. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, so, alright, going back to where I left off. So, if you're somebody watching this that's out there and you're in that position where you're dating somebody, where you're in an intimate relationship with somebody like fiance or spouse of someone, of a lady that has this uterus condition, then I understand, I guess. I'm trying to understand. Anyways, that it can be hard to understand what your female partner is going through when they look on the outside like they're perfectly fine and dandy and healthy, but yet on the inside they have this war, there's this battle raging on the inside. I guess on some level I can try to empathize with how that might be hard for people in that position. Nonetheless, I would beg. I think I would beg or grovel. I would get down on my hands and knees and grovel to anybody out there that if you are in that kind of a intimate relationship with a lady that has this uterus condition, please do your best to be compassionate and empathetic and try to put yourself in her shoes of the kind of basically just like how I said, the kind of try to do your best to put yourself in her shoes of the kind of inner war that is always raging on inside of her body. And yet when she has days where she's able to laugh more and wear a smile on her face more, commend her on that and compliment her on that and praise her on that, because know that when she's having days like that, when even though the war is still raging on inside of her body, she's doing her best on those days to push through the level of pain that she's able to handle, because then there's also obviously, of course, with this uterus condition going to be days also where the pain will be so unbearably excruciating that she won't be able to smile or laugh, and all she might be able to do is just lounge on the couch or lay in bed, because that's all she has the physical strength to do on the days of that are worse. Anyways, where was I? Sorry. Anyways, oh yeah, and along that note, of the varying levels of pain that women with this condition have, Of course, there, because of this condition, that obviously brings up another point, that, there are going to be times in the life of women that have this uterus condition where, say like it's a weekend, or not even a weekend, but say there's like some big outing event coming up, and she and the people close to her, friends, family, whoever, have made plans, have made arrangements for days, or for weeks, or sometimes maybe even for months, depending on what the event or the occasion is. She's made plans to attend this event or this occasion. Please be understanding that women with this uterus condition might have days where the varying levels of pain and symptoms from this uterus condition are so bad that they have no choice but to have to cancel attending those. They have to cancel the plans they made of attending those events and those occasions at last minute, because sorry, it's not like our uteruses have a calendar and they're like, oh, okay, I see that on these specific days throughout this week or throughout these next upcoming months, you have these number of special events or occasions listed. Okay, so I'll do my best to mark it in my calendar to make sure that I don't cause you to have excruciating pain and a flare-up of your symptoms on those days. No, our uteruses don't operate on calendar systems like we do. Sorry to burst your bubble, people, but anyways, where was I? I feel like I've gotten so off track here. Anyways, yeah, so that's how long I've been dealing with the symptoms for. And that's how long I've been having to advocate for myself for, because there've been, I can't count on my hands how many times there have been throughout my life with me battling with this disease that, like I said, medical community, friends, family, even people that you thought were close to you, because or that should have been close to you, and therefore you should have been able to trust them, only to find out in the end that you can't trust them. But which I guess, aside from not a lot of women having this disease in the first place, which makes it very isolating to be a woman with this disease, the fact that there's been so many people in our journey of trying to find answers and find proper treatment to help us with the pain and the symptoms of this disease, mocking and gaslighting us. That's another thing that can make this disease feel so isolating. Yeah, so okay, so the next clip that I will put on in the video after this current one of me trying to do my best to stay on track with personalizing the video more, instead of just reading word for word a paper note that I wrote up. But the next clip I will put on after this is a full and complete list of the symptoms that this uterus disease, adenomyosis, can cause. And the source of that list is from the website Adenomyosis Advice Association. So that's, I don't remember if it's .com or .org, but I will provide in the description of this YouTube video, underneath the YouTube video in the description box section, I will provide the website URL link for that website, Adenomyosis Advice Association. Sorry, my tongue got twisted up there. Told you it's a tongue twister to be able to remember how to say it properly all the time. So the point of why I brought that up is because one of the symptoms that you'll see that's listed there is that women with this uterus condition, it can cause them to have loss of hair loss. And that is something that I was experiencing very badly and had been experiencing since 2018. That's a symptom I noticed started flaring up in 2018 that I've been experiencing ever since. Literally, like I wouldn't even brush my hair that often on days when my hair was being good and behaving for me and, not matting up in tangles. And so on days when, I was having good hair days, I'd only brush my hair once, and nonetheless, I would have like clumps and clumps, and not just in one side of my head, but it was clumps and clumps from hair all over my scalp falling out of my head, and my sink would look like at the end of, fixing up my hair in the morning before running out to go out and do shit, it get on with the errands for the day, it would look like 5 cats, maybe. Okay, that might be exaggeration. Maybe not 5 cats, but it was a lot of hair that would fill up my sink. And that in itself is very scary, can be very scary for women with this condition if they haven't yet received a diagnosis of it, but they're down the path of trying to get there and they're having this symptom. That can be a very scary symptom to experience. It's one that's embarrassing because, there's women out there that are able to pull off having short hairstyles. I know, God bless her heart. I have had to go no contact with her because of personal reasons, for myself, to protect myself. But God bless her nonetheless. In my heart, I still have a love for her, but my mother's one of those women that has always, I've known her throughout my entire life to always have her hair in short hairstyles, and she pulls it off like a champ. So I do know, obviously there are biological women out there that are able to pull off wearing short hairstyles, and they do it with confidence and without fear. And, if you're one of those women that's able to do that, I highly commend you for it, because, yeah, there was times in my teen years where I occasionally wanted to change things up a bit and go from having long hair to a different hairstyle. So there have been maybe I can count from my lifetime, three times from childhood up to the last time being 2017 when I had short hairstyles, like pixie cut style of short length haircuts, and just to try to change things up a bit. But personally for me, it was nice temporarily to have a change in hairstyle until my hair grew back out. Confidence wise, yeah, no, I gotta be honest, I feel more confident when, despite having a lack or a low self-confidence, I feel more confident when I have longer hair, regardless of what form the long hair is, whether it's like how my hair is now in dreadlocks or unjetted. I've always felt my entire life more confident with having long hair, because then if I'm in a situation or in a place where I don't feel so confident, or where I just feel like I want to hide myself behind a blanket or a curtain, I can kind of hide my face. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, but that's kind of another reason why I got my hair. There's many reasons why I got my hair in dreadlocks. I've been wanting my hair in dreadlocks ever since ever since 2014 when my daughter was 2 years old. So this has been something I've wanted for going on 10 years. But yeah, I gotta say that's a bonus to having my hair in dreadlocks, is I don't have to worry about clumps and clumps of my hair falling out anymore. And because any hair that does fall out of my scalp will just naturally collect into my locks of tangles. So I don't have to worry about my hair thinning. Anyways, oh yeah, so trying to get back on track. So was within it was within about a year and a half after I received the first misdiagnosis. And then shortly after that, obviously, when shortly after that, about a year and a half after that, from starting a new relationship to then living on our own and trying to start a family, and I didn't know at the time if I would be able to ever get pregnant or be able to carry children, because so I had prayed to God. I was like, God, please, I just want a child. Just, even if it's only one child that you give me the chance to be a mother of, please just let me have at least one chance in my life to have a child. And God must have heard my heart crying, or he must have heard how loudly my spirit was desiring for me to be able to be a mother, because that was October of 2011 when I was praying to God to allow me the chance in my life to become a mother. And then come to find out 4 weeks after that, when my period was a week late and I took a pregnancy test that said I was more than 6 weeks pregnant. So come to find out 4 weeks after I had said that prayer that I was already 2 weeks pregnant at the time. And I say that because if you've done research, you'll know then through doing research that when a woman is pregnant, they don't date the pregnancy back to when the woman misses her period. They date the length of a pregnancy back to the first date of the woman's last period. So anyways, but then in 2017, 2018, even though my daughter's dad and we tried to give her siblings because I didn't want her to be an only child, but it didn't work out. They failed in miscarriages. I'll try to remember to insert pictures somewhere in the video of the pregnancy tests from those miscarriages. But yeah, it didn't work out though. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, and then as I'm sure you got the drift from the Facebook post I was reading, it was through me doing more self advocation that I finally got referred to a local gynecologist in my area here. I live in Southern Ontario, that specializes in endometriosis. I had my first appointment with him in the summer of last year, November, he referred me to the specialized gynecology and the specialized gynecology medical imaging clinic that's associated with McMaster University Hospital from Hamilton City. I got the call for that February to schedule my appointment to go there to go to Hamilton for that appointment. And lo and behold, that appointment got scheduled for Monday, April 1st, which happened to be Easter Monday. So the most traumatizing of my pain and symptoms with this uterus disease flared up on the weekend of Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, 2007, and I received my diagnosis of this bitch. I'm just gonna call it what it is, a bitch, of this bitch of a disease. I'm not even referring to my uterus as a bitch, because obviously my uterus, it did something so fabulous and so wonderful when it was able to carry my daughter to term. So I'm not even gonna call my uterus a bitch, but the disease, I will call it a bitch, because I never asked, and I never wanted this, despite what people might say, all the misunderstandings and that people might have about diseases like this out there. I never asked verbally nor in my mind to have my body plagued with a chronic illness like this. But yeah, just what's the irony in that? Thanksgiving weekend 2007 is when I noticed the onset of the chronic pain, and I got my diagnosis of it, my official diagnosis of it, Easter Monday of this year. So, sorry, I have allergies, so, yeah, anyways, so, yeah, and then, it was about 10 days, I think, 7 to 10 days after I had went to that clinic in Hamilton, that my local gynecologist here that specializes in endometriosis, he called me up and confirmed what I had already known, because I heard because obviously when I went to the appointment in Hamilton, the doctor there, he came in the room. That's the reason why I had to attend the appointment on the day they scheduled for it. They scheduled me for it because at this clinic, it's not just ultrasound technicians that do your appointment and then you're like, okay, I'm done taking pictures with the ultrasound sound wave whatever thing, and now you go and you'll have to wait however many days for us to forward the results to your doctor after the head whatever clinician here at the ultrasound clinic reviews the results. No, at this clinic they actually have the doctor there come in the room. So yeah, I felt like I gotta say this, I don't know if anyone's been in this position or not, but I felt like I was a museum piece on display. There I was in the room there. I was having there was the ultrasound technician, that was taking the pictures, and then they had this day that I had gone, they had university students that were in the clinic there, in there for training purposes, obviously, for whatever medical class they're taking at their university. But then I had 2 university students come in the room, so then I had 3 people in the room while I was naked from the waist down with just a paper towel covering me up, and then finally went, and this is how I already knew I had this disease before. My gynecologist called me 10 days later to give me confirmation of it from the notes that this McMaster clinic had wrote about me. I knew that I already had this disease when I went to that appointment, because then the ultrasound specialist doctor that works at this endometriosis clinic through McMaster University, he himself came in the room that day too, while they were still doing the ultrasound on me, so he could give me live talk and live feedback of what he was seeing on the ultrasound screen. And he himself said that he saw, because of the pictures that my body was showing on the ultrasound screen, that I have adenomyosis. So anyways, and of course, there's some other stuff he said in that appointment too that I already know about, so I'm still trying to pursue that as well, trying to see if I can get a referral for this. But he said one of the most best things that... Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. I don't know why or how it happened. I've reviewed and saw that the last clip accidentally got cut off. Anyways, where I had left off is that I'm currently trying to pursue having my family doctor refer me for physiotherapy, not just any kind of physiotherapy, but it specifically has to be physiotherapy that is focused and targets around being pelvic floor physiotherapy, and you'll find out why that is in the next clip when I post the long list of pains and symptoms that this uterus condition can cause. But anyways, and of course I already knew that because I heard the ultrasound, the endometriosis clinic through McMaster University ultrasound clinician doctor that had come in and given me the live feedback of real-time live feedback, what he was seeing the ultrasound screen show from what was being shown inside of my body. Is, he said, one of the forms of treatment for this uterus condition that can help to, it doesn't completely take away the pain and symptoms, but it can help to ease, or I guess lessen them a little bit, is pelvic floor physiotherapy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, my family doctor will be able to refer me to a physiotherapy clinic in the area here that focuses on doing pelvic floor therapy, that will be accepting of OHIP, because I don't have money to pay out of pocket, obviously. Sorry, not obviously, but yeah, that's just the situation I'm in. But anyways, yeah, and a side note, I as I was rewatching the last clip before it accidentally got cut off there at the end, is one thing I forgot to make mention in the last clip, in regards to all of the mockings and gaslighting and just very judgmental comments that people have made to me, and I'm sure to other biological women over the years that have this condition. And I mean judgmental in the ways of it being false judgments that they make about women like me that have this uterus condition, is not just telling us that we're crazy or that it's all in our heads, we've also been accused before of being lazy too, like, because there's days when this uterus condition is flaring up, and obviously its pains and its symptoms are flaring up so bad that, of course, like I mentioned in the last clip, there's days when we're basically bedridden, having to lay on the bed. And I don't mean lay on the bed for hours at a time, because, you know, if you're, you know, can't survive laying for bed hours of time. You have to get up, you have to, you know, do your bathroom needs, you have to cook, you have to clean. But, you know, I mean, in between all that, you're in between doing all that stuff to take care of the house and to take care of yourself, you're laying down because you're sick. You're sick. And yet we've been falsely accused before of not just being crazy, or just of you know, it all being in our heads, but we've also been falsely accused before of being lazy. Yeah, I don't even know how many times I've heard that throughout my life. That started going back all the way to when my daughter was within her first month of being 1 month old, like, not even. So yeah, that's just some of the struggles I've gone through my entire life with this disease. And so my heart goes out to any other ladies out there that are going through this. And I say ladies, girls, I would also say too, because obviously my symptoms started when I was of high school age. So according to website sources here, they say that sorry, I'm just reading off of notes here so I don't forget anything, but they say how many women have adenomyosis, how common is it in women? They say it's about 1 in 5 women that have this disease, that have this uterus condition. Percentage wise, they say it's anywhere from 20 to 35% of females that have it. Studies also say that generally it's not until women that are in their 40s and 50s, so they're saying like older, middle-aged women, that usually get diagnosed with this. I'm just gonna say flat out, from based on my experience, and if anybody else, sorry, hold on a second. Yeah, sorry. I wanted to change where I was sitting so I can play with my dog. But hey Roger, hey boy. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, babies. Yes, you're on the camera. Hi, honey pie. You making an appearance, a special appearance for everybody. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, I would say based on my experience, that's a load of hogwash, a bunch of crap. You know, you know, sayings I've heard before. Even my own brother, who's like 5 years younger than me, say it before our family lost. Never mind. Back before shit hit the fan, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, even stuff I've heard my brother say before, and he's 5 years younger than me. You know, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah. I would sum this all up in that category. That's a load of hogwash, because and I mean, if there's any other women out there watching this, please feel free to leave comments in the comment section if you agree or disagree with this. But based on my personal experience, I would say that's a load of hogwash. That it's only women in their 40s and 50s that get diagnosed with this uterus condition, because my symptoms started in my teens. When I was 15, more of the onset of the chronic, long-lasting symptoms. I mean, they've all been long-lasting, but more of the traumatic, I guess, yeah, I would call it traumatic, more of the traumatic symptoms of the chronic, ongoing pelvic pain started in 2007, I was in my early 20s then, so that's what initiated me starting my self-advocacy back then, to try to get answers for finding out what was causing me to have all these pains and symptoms. So I don't think it's just women in their 40s and 50s that get diagnosed with this. I think on that part, for medical websites to say that, that's just because sorry to say this, but secular medicine, I don't think they can be fully trusted, because of the lack of compassion and empathy that I've personally have noticed throughout my years of witnessing how the secular medical system treats people. And because of that, they're in my opinion, not medical advice, they are misinformed. So, anyways. Yeah, so where was I? Anyways, yeah, so I think I've rambled on enough. I will get on to compiling all the components for this video together, and then hopefully I can have it maybe uploaded and posted to my song cover YouTube channel by later tonight, I hope. Depending on how long it takes for everything to get pasted together. Yeah. So yeah, I apologize if I went off track here and there. I apologize if it was I apologize to viewers if it was difficult to stay focused or to follow along with me. But yeah, I did my best. I've never put myself out there in a position like this before to share something that's very personal. And obviously I'm showing not just in sharing a very personal experience of mine, but I'm also making myself very vulnerable, which is scary, very scary. So please take that into consideration if you're a biological male, or if you're a biological woman that does not have this condition. Please take that into consideration and show compassion and empathy before posting comments on my video. That would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, all right, take care. Peace out. Is a medical website that specifically focuses on trying to help raise awareness for adenomyosis. The website is called Adenomyosis Advice Association. Advice, support, and information on adenomyosis. I will now take you to the portion of this website on their page where they give a rundown of all of the typical symptoms that a biological woman with adenomyosis can experience. And it's not just at times of PMS or when they're having their menstruation period, but these symptoms can flare up at any time throughout the month of their menstrual cycle. And of course, any physical and emotional stress can aggravate, making these symptoms worse. It's recommended for the types of exercises that biological women with adenomyosis do is low intense, easy exercises such as yoga and Pilates. Anyways, here I will take you now to the symptoms portion of the website. Okay, so symptoms. While some women diagnosed with adenomyosis may have few or no symptoms, the disease can present in the following ways. I will list through them as they are listed in order on this website page here, and any that I have not experienced, I will speak up about. So if I don't disagree with the symptoms that are listed here on this page, that means I have been experiencing them ever since I was 15 years old. And I will be turning 38 this year in November of 2024, so that should give you some idea of how long I've been dealing and struggling with these pains and symptoms for. All right, first up on the list, we have heavy, prolonged menstrual bleeding that can last up to 14 days plus. And yes, I have noticed that more so recently within the past 4 to 3 years. And taking hormonal birth control medicine did not help to lessen the bleeding. In fact, there were some days when I was taking hormonal birth control medicine that I had bleeding episodes, various bleeding episodes, anywhere from spotting to heavy period-like bleeding that lasted in excess of around anywhere from 21 to 23 days. With me maybe getting, if I was lucky, at most 4 to 14 days break in between the bleeding episodes of not bleeding. Anyways, next up on the list, severe menstrual cramps. These severe menstrual cramps, as the website says here, can be vaginal, can include vaginal pressure, which can be severe enough to feel like the uterus is trying to push out through the vagina, like the last stage of labor when the baby's head pushes into the cervix. I will say this, personally, my entire life, when I have severe menstrual cramps, it feels literally, and this is how I've worded it before to people, it feels like my uterus or like my insides are about to fall out from my vagina. So yeah, that I don't disagree with that symptom listed either. I've experienced that. Large blood clots. I get lots of blood clots, not fairly large blood clots. So that one haven't really experienced large blood clots, but I do experience lots of blood clots. Yeah, just excuse the noise in the background. I have a baby puppy. So if you hear any noise in the background, that is my puppy. I will have to take pauses from the video to take care of him. Anyways, next symptom on the list, sudden stabbing pains across abdomen at any time during the cycle. That is true. So like I said, these symptoms and pains of adenomyosis do not just flare up during PMS or during the period menstrual bleeding time of the month. These symptoms can flare up at any time throughout the menstrual month cycle. Abdominal pressure and bloating, feeling full up after eating only a small meal due to pressure on the stomach. And that is because biological women that have adenomyosis, because of the endometrium tissue that should only be lining the inside of the uterus, growing in the muscle wall lining of the uterus, it can cause uteruses that have adenomyosis to be 1 to up to at most 3 times the size of a normal uterus, and that is because the endometrium tissue that grows inside of the muscle wall lining of a adenomyosis uterus causes the uterus to be bulky, aka swollen. Anyways, next symptom, severe nausea, particularly prior to menstruation. Yes, I have experienced bouts of severe nausea during my PMS time of the month of my menstrual cycles. Thank God I've never yet actually vomited, but it does get to the point where I have basically like dry heaving. Next symptom on the list, acid reflux from pressure upwards from the diaphragm. And this, again, I do believe, I highly suspect that this acid reflux symptom is caused from the uterus being 1 to 3 times swollen its normal size because of the endometrium tissue not just lining the inside of the uterus, but growing inside the muscle wall lining of the uterus. And I experience a lot of acid reflux during my PMS time of the month. I mean, I have experienced it at other times too, but usually it's more normal for me to experience an increase of acid reflux during my PMS window of my menstrual cycle. And I've noticed that throughout the years, that usually when I'm experiencing that, that means, of course, that I'm having PMS and that my menstrual period will be starting soon. Anyways, I digress. I continue on in the list here. Enlarged uterus, noticeable in most severe cases. Again, this just goes right back to what I was talking about adenomyosis uteruses, because of them having the endometrium tissue growing inside the muscle wall lining. It can cause the uterus to be bulky, aka swollen. This symptom here, and this is why some women with this uterus condition, we look like we're overweight or like we're pregnant, even when we're not pregnant. So it's a very, how should I put it? It's very embarrassing. It's makes us feel self-conscious of our bodies when, no, we're not fat. We're not pregnant. We are doing, what we can to keep our weight at a healthy weight. We're exercising when we're able to exercise, when we're not having all these painful symptoms flare up. And yet, because of this condition causing this symptom, we get people making rude and embarrassing comments to us, sometimes like, oh, you look fat, or, oh, you look like you're pregnant. But anyways, I digress. This symptom listed here. Enlarged uterus, noticeable in most severe cases with the appearance of a 3 to 9 months plus pregnancy. Tilted uterus is the next symptom. Tilted uterus, which can have associated pain in the small of the back or lower back. Next symptom, pain or lack of sensation during intercourse. I've never experienced the lack of. I have found throughout my years that in certain positions, if I was told to get into certain positions, and I'll just be flat out like doggy style, whatever. And I've noticed this throughout my entire life, from back when I was 17, that certain positions, more so like the doggy style position, I feel pain deep inside, not in my vagina, but I feel pain deep inside of like my pelvic organs, like usually in my lower back. Anyways, I digress. I continue on. Next symptom listed here is painful orgasm and associated with lengthy cramping and spotting. I'll just be, I'll just be, again, I'm not, if you've made it this far in the video, then I applaud you for not getting grossed out from the TMI trigger warning information that I'm listing in this video here, from maybe, you finding, or maybe, some people finding some of the stuff listed in this video here as being too gross or too sensitive. Anyways, but painful orgasm associated with lengthy cramping and spotting. I've never experienced painful orgasm. Most of the time throughout my entire life, I've found that I'm really only able to reach orgasm if I do like if there's a lot of clitoris play involved. Sorry, just being honest. So I am in ownership of toys for that self-pleasure. Anyways, as far as my personal experience, though, in regards to this symptom listed here, I've never experienced painful orgasm. However, I have noticed throughout my lifetime throughout my entire lifetime that the lengthy cramping and spotting, I have had that, though, associated with me having an orgasm. Anyways, I digress. Next symptom listed here: sharp internal vaginal / cervical pain on sitting down. Yes, I've had that flare up at various times throughout my my monthly menstrual cycle, whether or not I'm having PMS or having a period or not. It can flare up at any time throughout the month, like I said. Next symptom: pain radiating down one or both thighs / legs. I do experience that. I started experiencing that actually more so in the latter months when I was pregnant with my child. And I believe that is because of, again, the uterus being enlarged and swollen. It puts pressure on the surrounding pelvic organs and also puts pressure on the lower part of the spine, which causes sciatic nerve pain. Next symptom listed here: constipation with changeable / unpredictable bowel movements. That I've experienced my entire life, ever since I was an adolescent. And that's one of the reasons why I received a misdiagnosis in 2014 of IBS. They had diagnosed me in 2014 with IBS, otherwise known as irritable bowel syndrome type constipation, because of me usually experiencing chronic constipation, again, from the swollen, enlarged uterus, putting pressure on the organs in that area, such as your colon. Next symptom listed here: diarrhea. I get massive amounts of diarrhea cramps and also massive amounts of bouts of diarrhea throughout the PMS portion of my menstrual cycle, and of course during the first few days of me starting a period. Next symptom listed here: rectal pain. Yes, I'm just going to be flat out honest. Yes, I do experience that from time to time. Anytime. Like I said, it can happen. These symptoms can flare up at any time throughout the cycle, not just PMS or period times of a woman's month. Anyways, next symptom listed here: joint pain on resting and muscle cramps. Yes, extremely yes, extremely from the abdomen and the lower back down, radiating down the rest of the body. But yes, at various times of the month, and depending on how much emotional and physical stress I'm under, yes, I experience joint pain throughout my entire body sometimes, which obviously makes women, biological women with this uterus condition, it causes them to become tired and fatigued easily. And of course, when you become tired and fatigued easily, it's hard to be able to be physically active. Anyways, I digress. Next symptom listed here. Frequent urination worsens as condition becomes severe. Again, yes, if you have gotten this far in the video, you will already know that this is one of the main symptoms, one of the main painful symptoms actually of this condition that I've experienced since 2007, of October 7th. Next symptom listed here, lower back ache within the lower lumbar region. Again, yes. I've experienced lower back pain my entire life, ever since I was 15 years old, from this condition. Next symptom listed here, severe migraines, usually just before or as period begins. Again, capital in all caps, EYES. I started experiencing migraines at age 11, was referred to a pediatrician because of how often and how severe I was getting them, and I was diagnosed at age 12 with migraines. And yes, I am prone to getting severe onset and chronic onset of migraines, usually within a week before my period starts, so within the PMS portion of the month. But of course, I can also experience migraines at any other time of the month, such as if I haven't gotten enough sleep, if there's changes in the weather pressure. Those are examples of when I notice I'm more prone to getting migraine attacks. Next symptom listed here, iron deficiency, anemia. In later stages of condition, I've experienced this on and off throughout my entire life, anemia. Next symptom listed here, associated vitamin deficiencies, particularly vitamin D. Thank God I've never had that symptom yet. With all the times throughout my life that I've had blood work done, thank God I've never had that happen yet. Anyways, I digress. Next symptom listed here, hormonal imbalances, very high levels of estrogen. This is what is basically what is at the root cause of adenomyosis, and also its sister disease, endometriosis. Biological women that have these two diseases we have a hormone imbalance where, and I don't know all the technical or scientific terminology words to use to describe this here, so I'm just going to describe it the best way I know how, and hopefully you can make sense of this. And if you want to continue on with this after my video is done, then you can, do the research in your own time. But basically, our hormones, all of our different hormones in the bodies of the biological women that have these two diseases, they are at an imbalance of always creating more higher levels of estrogen than what is actually not needed. And this is why biological women that have these two conditions, adenomyosis and its sister disease, endometriosis, we have hormonal imbalance of high levels of estrogen. Next symptom listed here, palpitations associated with anemia. Yes, I've noticed that on and off throughout my entire life, of me having frequent bouts sometimes, depending on, what I'm doing, or, what stresses I'm under, of, my heart having palpitations. Next symptom listed here, breathlessness. Yes, we run out of breath quickly, especially when we're doing high intense physical levels of exercise. And again, I believe that's because of the swollen uterus. pushing up on the diaphragm. This is why it's recommended that women, biological women that have adenomyosis, we are recommended to do easy, low-intense physical exercises such as yoga, such as Pilates, such as being referred for physiotherapy, specifically physiotherapy that focuses on the pelvic floor muscles. Anyways, I digress. Extreme fatigue, needing to sleep during the day. Yes. Next symptom, rapid weight gain in latter stages of condition. This is why I believe that it's important for biological women with this condition to do whatever we can to the best of our abilities, because I understand obviously it's a struggle, and I will get on to this, or I will share about this later on in the video here, but yeah, it's a struggle to keep your weight under control with this condition once you put on weight, because of this and all of the symptoms that this condition causes. Makes it hard to exercise, and therefore when it's hard to exercise, it's obviously hard to lose weight. Sorry for mispronunciation there, but it's hard to lose weight when you have lack of exercise due to having all of these symptoms and pains. Anyways, I digress. Next symptom listed here, pressure on the spine leading to muscle weakness. Yes, I have lots of times, and I've noticed it more so within the last 5 years, lots of times when if I'm sitting in certain positions, my legs, my feet, my knees, they go numb from my lower back down all the way to my feet. Such a lovely disease this adenomyosis is. Sorry, that was sarcasm there, folks, in case you can't tell. Anyways, next symptom listed here, water retention. Yes, I do experience water retention sometimes, especially, yeah. It can flare up at any time of the month. I've had it happen throughout my years where sometimes it flares up at any time throughout the month, and when it does, it's a bitch, let me tell you. I'm sorry if you don't approve of swearing, but I swear, so, fuck off if you don't approve of my swearing. This is just how I am, and if you don't like it, well, go take a hike. But anyways, I'm being open and I'm being honest and down to earth here. Yeah, water retention, I guess, leads to bloating, which, causes women to have to use the bathroom more when they're having water retention. And with this disease already causing the symptom of frequent urination because of the swollen uterus putting pressure on the bladder, well, this just, can you not see the nasty cycle that these of symptoms and pain that this disease causes on biological women that have it? Anyways, I digress. Next symptom is, of course, in relation to what I was just talking about with the bladder, incontinence and or lack of ability to empty the bladder. Again, if you were listening, or if you have been listening to the entire video and watching it carefully up to this point, then yes, you will already know that this is a symptom, one of my main symptoms actually, that I've been experiencing chronically ever since 2007. More so the I would say urinary retention. That's what makes me have to go to the bathroom quite often. The urinary retention, which in addition to the urinary frequency, feeling like I have to go pee, but then the urinary retention, use the bathroom, you think you're done, you're at the sink washing your hands, and then you realize, oh shit, no, I still have the feeling that I need to go and empty my bladder again. And then there's, again, at other times of the month, usually especially more so during my PMS time of the menstrual cycle, and during the time of me having my period, where I'm then having symptoms of urinary urge and urinary stress incontinence. And apparently, from my knowledge, that is because during those times of the menstrual cycle, there's an increase in progesterone, which causes not just the uterus to cramp, but also causes other pelvic organs to have cramps as well, such as the bowels, such as the bladder. This is why a lot of women experience an onset of bouts of diarrhea during PMS and the onset of their period because of higher levels of progesterone during that time of the menstrual cycle, causing cramps. And of course, when you have higher levels of progesterone causing bladder cramps, you know, your bladder muscle is therefore having spasms, which leads to, you know, more having to go to the bathroom more, and therefore not only having more frequent urinary frequency, but also urinary stress and urinary urge incontinence. Anyways, I digress. Next symptom listed here is hair loss. Yes, that's something I've been experiencing more so, and I can specifically relate this to after the last miscarriage I had in 2018. I've noticed this symptom ever since 2018. Next symptom listed here, mid swings, as with PMS. Yes, I get extremely bad mood swings with PMS. Next symptom listed here, next item listed here in the list, symptoms worsen with stress. That's what I've been, I believe, already telling and warning people about throughout this entire video. If nobody's been paying attention up to this point in the video, well then I'm sorry, you're just like either deaf or blind, or you lack common sense in understanding, period. Sorry, I'm just, in case you can't tell, I'm very frustrated. I get frustrated sometimes from having had to deal with all of this crap for so long. Anyways, I digress. Next symptom listed here, insomnia, due to pain interfering with sleep. Fuck yes, I've been experiencing that since Sunday, October 7th of 2027. Next symptom listed here, infertility, failure to conceive with IVF intervention. Again, I've already mentioned about having miscarriage. I actually had two. I'll enclose the clip at the end, or at some point in the video here. I'll enclose the clip of the pictures of the pregnancy tests from the two miscarriages that I had. But yeah, and then again, as I was just talking about, the last symptom listed here, miscarriage. Sometimes multiple miscarriage complications. So there you have it, folks. As you can see here through a simple Google search, that's not hard. If anybody knows how to do Google search or research in general, you can find this information out for yourself. But does weight loss help lessen adenomyosis symptoms? Here's one example. Yes, regular exercise can help maintain a healthy weight, which can reduce the severity of adenomyosis symptoms. This can be as simple as daily walking, swimming, or yoga. Here we have another example of how weight loss and maintaining a healthy weight can help with adenomyosis. You're welcome to pause the video at this point if you need to pause it, so you can take the time to read through this portion of the video of these posts that were made in a public, I guess, in a public blog page. I'm not going to read it word for word. I'll just paraphrase it. If you want to read it word for word, like I said, you're welcome to take the time at this point in the video to pause it. But anyways, basically, from what I can see here, I'm paraphrasing. A lady's been recently, not recently, a year ago, says, but according to her post, she was recently diagnosed with adenomyosis. She's extremely overweight. The doctor has recommended that if she loses the weight, it will help to lessen or ease up on some of her adenomyosis symptoms. Then we have people here saying, hey, you know, like, it's kind of ridiculous of the doctor to just be associating the weight or obesity with being the cause of the symptoms when it's not. It's a uterus condition, has nothing to do with weight causing the uterus condition. And then other people here saying exercise does help them in certain areas, like such as with PMS and menstrual cramps. However, though, if they overexert themselves in high level intense physical exercise, then that's the kind of exercise that can make the pain worse. So it has to be gentle forms of low physical intensity exercises such as yoga and Pilates. Again, you're welcome. You can do the research yourself, and it's all from this page right here, doing a Google search, and then I just scrolled down and it was right here. As I'm sure you could make out from that last portion of the video there, weight loss or trying to maintain a healthy weight for biological women with this uterus condition can, add some benefits to maybe helping to lessen the symptoms and the pains at certain times. And again, as I gave example, there was more examples of that in that Reddit public blog post. So anyways, I digress. Here's my personal example now here. I started to put on some weight in November of 2019, and I will just give you, that first of all, backstory to me putting on weight. Majority of my life, ever since I was late teens, early 20s, I always had a weight range ranging anywhere from 120 to 125 pounds. Even within a month after I gave birth to my daughter, I was able to drop 25 pounds and be back within my normal weight range ranging from 120 to 125 pounds after I gave birth to my daughter, within a month after I gave birth to her. In November of 2019, I started to put on weight very fast, very rapidly, even though I had not done anything to change my eating habits or my lifestyle. I was still eating the same. I was still doing the same physical amount of activity that I've done my entire life, walking places when I need to go to certain places to get stuff like food, grocery items, household items, whatever. Eating when I'm hungry. If I don't feel hungry, then I don't eat. Nonetheless, I was still putting on weight. I ended up putting on weight that was ranging from me being 120 to 100, not 120. I ended up putting on weight that ended up having me range from being 20 to 25 pounds heavier than my normal weight. So basically, I had ended up then starting to put on, from the weight I started putting on in November of 2019, and I struggled with losing this weight for the last 4 years, up until October of 2023. I still struggled to lose this weight, but with this weight I had put on, I was weighing the same amount that I had weighed when I was pregnant with my daughter, especially during the last trimester of being pregnant with her, which was, to me, was very embarrassing, lowered my self-esteem, lowered my self-worth, lowered my personal view of my self-image. Anyways, I digress. You're welcome to, like I said, take turns wherever you need to throughout this video to pause it so you can carefully read through what is being shown to you on the screen here. Anyways, I continue on. Here you can see from April 20th, so this is going back on like 2 years now ago. I started my weight loss journey 2 years ago. And here I, was documenting my weight loss journey. April 8th, I was at 143 pounds. So like I said, around 20 to 25 pounds heavier than my normal weight range. Shows me, again, losing weight, trying to track my progress of losing weight. Again, another picture from April 20th, 2022. Here's one from April, ranging anywhere from, it was January 19th to January 28th of last year, 2023. You can see I was, I had put weight back on, so I was weighing like more than 20 pounds of my normal weight range. Here's an example of, as you can see, how skinny, how almost near flat my stomach was back in March of 2019. So here's an example photo showing how, when I'm in my normal weight range of being anywhere from 120 to 125 pounds, this is usually how skinny I look when I'm in my normal weight range of 120 to 125 pounds. You can see how skinny I look from March of 2019 when I was in my normal weight range of 120 to 125 pounds. Another example, side view of me being skinny from me being in my normal weight range of 120 to 125 pounds. Again, another example. So 2019, this would have been like, well, around 6-ish years after I gave birth to my child. Again, you can see how skinny I am in this picture here because I was within my normal weight range of 120 to 125 pounds. And again, another example. And again, another example. And I think I have one more here. And again, another example of how skinny I was. And look, when I'm within my normal weight range. Anyways, and then here, this is where I am at today in trying to maintain a healthy weight range, not being overweight like I was for the last 4 years. And again, you can see, comparing these photos that I took today to the ones I just showed you from previous years when I was within my normal weight range in previous years. Again, you can see the same comparison of me having a fairly skinny, flat stomach when I'm not having the bloating from my adenomyosis, causing me to have stomach bloating. And another example of my stomach not being bloated at this point in time from adenomyosis of, again, very comparable, this photo to the ones I showed you from previous years when I was within my normal weight range before I had started to rapidly gain weight in November of 2019. And another example, and another example, and I think this might be the last one. Might be the last one. Let me see. No, okay, this is the last one. There you go, though, folks. Please pause the video at this point if you need to read this. So, here I just wanted to show people, I don't know if people can notice that from the pictures I posted earlier in the video. I can try to hold my stomach in, but it's sore. It's really sore right now to do that, but this, I don't know if people can see or not notice the difference from the pictures I have posted earlier in the video, but this same day, same outfit from earlier in the day. I don't know if you can see the bloating there. Here you can see my ribs. So you can see I'm obviously not fat, but you can see bloating down here. I don't know if you can, but I can anyways. And it's sore, and this is just from me. So far all I've had to drink so far is bottle of water. I had a bottle of water, and I've had 2 green teas. No milk in the teas, but just 2 green teas, some water, and I had 2.5 hot dogs to eat today so far for my lunch and my dinner. And this is, I can feel the bloating and pain. It's not so much a pain like sharp stabbing pains, but it feels like pressure pain in my lower stomach right now where I can notice the bloating. So I just wanted to give you an example of how quickly this disease, this uterus disease, can cause bloating in the women that have it, and it's obviously painful. Painful because it's uncomfortable. And sometimes women, if we're wearing jeans that have buttons and zippers on them when this happens, it makes us just want to fucking undo the jeans and throw on fucking track pants or pajama pants. Alright, but there you have it. There's an example of what this disease can cause within less than 24 hours. This is short form adeno belly, adenomyosis, bloating belly. Please pause or end here. Thanks.
I wanted to show you guys what adenomyosis looks like because I get asked questions all the time. What's the difference between adenomyosis and fibroids? Uterus looks, first of all, it looks really big and boggy. You can see. Normally a uterus should be about maybe that small, like that. So all of this is extra, everything on top there. And we're going to cut this. And I've showed you guys fibroids before, but you can see there's not really a distinct fibroid here. Just this entire thing is actually glands. So she has extremely heavy periods. You see, if we tried to cut this out and just take out the fibroid, you would just keep cutting and cutting and cutting because there's not a distinct border. And these are really hard to fix once you cut because they fall apart very easily. This right here is part of the cavity. And so if you go all the way straight down to the cervix, this is the cervix. And that's it. So this is normal muscle here. And then up here you can see it's got all these like little lesions here. That is adenomyosis. And it even has some brown. You can see the brown color in there. That's old blood, and this is extremely painful. Whenever it's glands, it responds to hormones, and so anything that bleeds in here will bleed up here, and it causes a lot of pain. Okay, so this is today's case. This uterus is very heavy. The patient had a lot of bleeding. There's her cervix, it's this long, and then this is the uterus. So she has both fibroids and adenomyosis. We actually had to, you can see the adenomyosis looks like all mottled, and then the fibroids are a distinct round structure, more like that. But we had to take it in two pieces because this wouldn't come out vaginally, so it's kind of like a little heart shape like that. And then these are her fallopian tubes.
Hello, this is a pathology specimen showing a bisected uterus, and this uterus has been bisected longitudinally in the sagittal plane. So what we're looking at on this surface is the endometrial cavity, the endometrium, the myometrium, which is thickened, and this is the uterine cervix. Here is the posterior surface, and this is the posterior uterine serosa. This is the left-sided adnexal structures. This is the anterior uterine serosal surface and the cervix. And coming back to the cut surface, the main pathology lies in the myometrium, and we can see that it is expanded and thickened up to actually almost 5 centimeters thick in this region. When we take a closer look, we can see that the myometrium is rather trabeculated. It has all these branching pale lines running through, as opposed to the usual myometrium where the lines are a little bit more parallel. And in this region, we can see a darkish area. So this represents foci of hemorrhage. If we look carefully, we can actually see that some of the areas of hemorrhage are quite pinpoint and small. For example, here and just about here. And these are sometimes known as punctate hemorrhages. The diagnosis here is adenomyosis. Adenomyosis usually gives rise to an enlarged, rather globular-shaped uterus with a trabeculated myometrium, and sometimes you can see punctate hemorrhages. Let's look at another example. Here is another uterus that is similarly globular in shape with a thickened and trabeculated myometrium. And if we look carefully, we can see in some of these areas, there is a little hint that there may be some hemorrhage perhaps below the plane of sectioning, and here again. So what actually is adenomyosis? Adenomyosis is defined as the presence of endometrial tissue, which can be in the form of endometrial stroma with or without endometrial glands, within the uterine wall, and by this we mean the myometrium. Clinically, it may present with menometrorrhagia, which means irregular and heavy menses, dysmenorrhea, pelvic pain, and also infertility. Microscopically, we would of course look in the myometrium for abnormal areas, and what we are looking for is the presence of endometrial glands and stroma. So this whole area that I am outlining, this whole area is an area of adenomyosis, and we can see the presence of endometrial glands, which are lined by a very bland, benign columnar epithelium, and the surrounding stroma, which is bluish on low magnification, and it looks different from the surrounding myometrium. So this pink area, this is the myometrium, and there are fascicles of smooth muscle cells here. Usually the cells have quite abundant cytoplasm, which is why it looks quite pink. So this is a benign process and usually can be managed with medical treatment. Hence, in summary, this is a specimen of a longitudinally bisected uterus, and we can see that the myometrium is thickened and trabeculated, and there are areas of hemorrhage, including small areas of punctate hemorrhage and focal larger areas here. By the way, there are actually a few small little ovoid nodules that are very well circumscribed as well in the myometrium, and these represent small fibroids or leiomyomata. Thank you.
Some notes on adenomyosis. The pathogenesis here is that you have abnormal endometrial tissue within the uterine myometrium, and you can see that on this pathology specimen in the background. There's abnormal endometrial tissue in the uterine myometrium. The risk factors for adenomyosis include older age, greater than 40, multiparity, prior uterine surgery like myomectomy. The signs and symptoms, clinical features of adenomyosis include dysmenorrhea, heavy menstrual bleeding, chronic pelvic pain, diffuse uterine enlargement, sometimes described as a globular uterus, and sometimes uterine tenderness as well. The diagnosis is typically made clinically. You can confirm with MRI and ultrasound, and you'll see a thickened myometrium. You can confirm again with pathology. Lastly, the treatment for adenomyosis is hysterectomy.